statement. So the student will be able to design a procedure to separate organic acids and bases. This has a action verb, that is design. That is design. Design is the action verb. So action verb is needed to be included. Without that, CO will be incomplete. Then the second CO. This is one CO and this is another CO. After successful completion of this course, student will be able to determine the purity of real samples. Here, determine is the action verb. Purity of real sample is the subject content. Then another CO, you take an example. Student will be able to use chromatography tools to a competent level. What level? It is a competent level. That is the Bloom's taxonomy level. Competent level means it is maybe apply level or evaluate level or even create level. By utilizing the knowledge and chromatographic technique, he should be able to separate acids and bases. He should be able to separate various components. So that's how the competent level, the Bloom's taxonomy keyword has been incorporated here. Then after completion of this course, the student will be able to present the applications of chromatographs for real life problems. So this is the mode of performing the task. Chromatographic separation procedure will be applied. Application of the chromatographic procedures will be utilized in order to perform the task. So this is how a CO should be written for any course, not necessarily to be chemistry, even for economics, political science, Kannada, English. So each and every subject will be having their own context. So with respect to the context, you have to write the CO statement. Right. While writing COs, you have to realize certain points and you have to address them properly. Number one is the specificity. Specificity means the descriptions, whatever you are using, they must be precise enough. Is it concrete, detailed, or subject focused? Is it defined properly? You have to ascertain. Means that cannot be written vaguely. A CO statement you are writing, that should be specific to the subject. That should be specific to a unit of the course. Suppose you have a course, you have a paper that has 3 or 4 units. Try to write at least 3 to 4 COs. One CO should be related to one unit, another CO should be related to another unit, or in that context, you can write the CO. Then another thing is it measurable? Means, can the performance of the outcome be observed or measured? You are conducting internal assessment test. You will be doing the direct assessment or indirect assessment. Is it possible to measure the assessment level? Is it possible to measure the competency level of the student? That is very important. Then achievable. The ability or the attempt or the performance level put by the student to achieve this CO should be neither difficult nor simple, should be achievable. Some per amount of the effort should be put by the student to achieve that CO. Means reasonably he has to write the answer. How? By utilizing his competency. That's what. Not by hearting the answer, not by remembering the answer, or not by copying the answer from the neighbor, so and so. That is not achievable. He learned the subject. He is utilizing his knowledge. He is applying his knowledge. He is applying his capabilities to write the answer. Means it is achievable. Then the relevancy is very important. Outcome, what you are posing, what you have put should be relevant to the subject, relevant to the stakeholders' performance, relevant to the learner.
Otherwise, if it is first year
irrelevant,
second year third year 12 plus 4
participants, you please mute yourself. Please do not interrupt. Okay, should be relevant. The CO, whatever you are writing, should be relevant. So relevancy in terms of the outcome of the course. Is the outcome important or worthwhile to the learner or stakeholder? Is it possible to achieve again? Then time bound. Say, for example, you're asking a question for 2 marks. There is a time bound. Even CO statement should have a time bound. One CO needed to be achieved. The student need not to work throughout the semester, throughout the year. Let it be first week or couple of weeks of the semester, or the last couple of weeks of the ending stage of the semester. There should be time bound to achieve that CO. These are the points you have to keep in your mind always to write the COs. Some useful tips to write the COs. You carefully see here, number of COs for course, per paper. Let it be minimum 2, maximum 4. If it is more than 4, you are going to face the problem while evaluating attainment. More the number of COs, more the work you need it to be done. But it doesn't mean to say that we can, at any point of time, we cannot prescribe more number of COs. You have the freedom, you have the autonomy to incorporate. But in relevance to the content of the curriculum, in relevance to the content of the subject domain in the curriculum document, appropriate and relevant or specific COs you try to incorporate. That is always better. Then you have to understand the CO essentials. Means it should have a action work, subject content, level of achievement, mode of performance, etc. You should not forget to include the taxonomy level. Out of all these 6, the CO needed to be achieved by applying the knowledge in the understand level, remember level, apply level, analyze level, etc. Number of Bloom's taxonomy level, say let it be 2 to 3, means it should be neither simple nor difficult. So medium it should be, the CO performance effort should be medium or strong. Then the technical content with respect to curriculum content should be covered. You have 4 COs, means all 4 COs should cover the whole unit, whole paper. All 4 units present in the paper should be covered to write the 4 COs or 5 COs or 2 COs. So curriculum content needed to be covered. You should not leave that. Then curriculum gap should be addressed. In order to address this curriculum gap, one additional CO you have the autonomy to interpret. So this is how some useful tips you can follow always while writing the CO. Okay, next, very important aspect in the outcome-based education system is the validation of the outcome statements. We have the education systems in higher education institutes, which are affiliated colleges, autonomous colleges, and universities. If it is affiliated college, how to validate CO? If it is autonomous college, how to validate CO? If it is university, how to validate CO? Board of Studies will be the supreme to validate CO. Board of Studies, BOS will be the supreme to validate CO. Then who has to design the CO? If for the very first time you are developing your curriculum document by incorporating course outcomes in the curriculum, how to start this? Because you don't have any knowledge, you have not been trained, you have to implement the outcome-based education in your higher education institution. So how to validate the CO, how to prescribe the CO first, then how to validate that. You assume your institute is affiliated to the university, then you need not to worry because university will prescribe the syllabus. University BOS will design and develop the curriculum for BA degree, BSc, any undergraduate degree or master's degree. Don't worry. But that curriculum should have the CO if you are affiliated college. If you are working in the university, you will be having the discretion of working as Board of Studies member. If you are a member of BOS, then you have the responsibility of prescribing the CO, designing the CO for a particular course of your interest, your expertise. So you have to design, you have to develop the CO for that particular course of your expertise. Then that has to be incorporated in your curriculum. Okay. So if you are an affiliated college employee, you have to take the university COs as reference. or other popular institute COs as reference for that particular course. Say, for example, Indian economy is the course. For the Indian economy, you may refer the University of Mysore curriculum or Bharatiya University curriculum or University of Madras curriculum, etc. in order to refer the CO. Then that CO should be incorporated by the BOS for that particular course in the BOS. That is the process undertaken in the BOS only. That is not an unofficial job. It is an official job. Right. Then, once these reference COs are taken, use those COs means the COs you have developed to develop quality parameters you have to assess, Bloom's taxonomy level to achieve that. You draft your CO. Who has to draft the CO? The course in charge. In your department, there are 8 teachers. 8 teachers have to share 8 courses to develop the COs for all those 8 courses. So there should be a course in charge. In this outcome-based education, course in charge will be playing crucial role. So CO reference to be taken either from the university or from other institute. Then the quality of the CO should be analyzed, assessed with respect to the Bloom's taxonomy level. Then the draft COs to be generated for your course by the course in charge. Then that has to be verified by whom? The expert faculty or the course coordinator or module coordinator. And this course coordinator or module coordinator is an expertise who is working in the BOS, who is working in the statutory body of an higher education institution, who should be expertise one in the subject. So you can get the support from that and you can verify whether the generated CO or designed COs are appropriate for respect of the course, what we are going to offer. That is very important. Then this verified CO should be approved by the program coordinator or the HOD or the chairman in the university or in the BOS, etc. So this is the pathway of validating the COs. Once the COs are validated, they are to be put for implementation. Okay, this is all about writing the COs. POs are written in the curriculum. Say, when you take any document, POs or PSOs, program outcomes or program specific outcomes, are designed in order to showcase the probable outcomes or competencies or skills acquired by the student by the end of the graduation. These are program outcomes or program specific outcomes. They are put in curriculum document only at the beginning of the curriculum. Say you have curriculum, syllabus, means where is a program structure, course module, credit pattern, examination pattern, evaluation pattern, everything will be there. Before that, program outcomes, program specific outcomes will be there. This vision and mission will be there in the institute. Along with in aligned with the vision and mission of the higher education institution, even the department should also have its own vision and mission. But the primary aim and objectives are to achieve the vision and mission of the higher education institution. So in order to achieve the vision and mission of the HEI, you have to design the POs and PSOs in line with the PLOs and PEOs, as I showed in the outcome-based education framework. Then it will be easy to achieve the OBE attainment. So POs and PSOs will be there in the document. COs will be there in the curriculum document before the commencement of the content of that particular course. Say, for example, in MA Economics, Indian Economics is a course title. Before the content of that course title begins, there are set of 2 to 4 course outcomes should be given. And those course outcomes should have all those things: subject content, mode of performance, Bloom's taxonomy level, and the action work. So these are present in the curriculum document. So once the curriculum document is ready, teaching learning process will commence. Once you start teaching learning process, of course, assessment is also parallelly simultaneously commenced. So once the assessment is done, you have to follow the mapping strategy. What is the mapping strategy? The vision and mission. Mission should be mapped to vision. Mission should be mapped to PEOs or PLOs. PEOs or PLOs are in line with the PSO or PO. PO should be in line with the CO. CO should be in line with the questions you're asking from the subject content. That is the assessment level, the attainment level or the performance level of the student that reflects about the achievement of the course outcome, program specific outcome, then ultimately the success of the higher education institution. So in order to understand this mapping strategy, first you have to understand about the mapping between the COs, course outcomes are present in the curriculum document. Then you have to set the question paper for internal assessment test and the end semester examinations. There are two options to frame the questions with the course outcomes. One is mapping the course outcomes with the questions in the internal assessment tests, but not necessary to map the COs to the questions in the end semester examination paper. Why? In the internal assessment tests, maybe C1, C2, C1, C2, and C3, three tests may be conducted, or two tests may be conducted, or even a student may undergo for seminar or assignment, etc. If a course is having 2 or 3 or 4 COs, all the COs are considered to measure or evaluate the attainment of the student without any bias. That's what, if the C1 and C2 test question papers are set in such a way that the questions are given by covering all the COs, then inevitably the questions given in the end semester examination is also covered all the COs. In that context, not necessary to map the COs with the questions in the end semester examination. Even if you map, no problem. Institutions which are having the digital platform means they are having the softwares. They have the mapping system between COs and the questions of the end semester examinations. Don't worry about that. Okay. So COs are to be mapped with the questions of the internal assessment tests. COs are to be mapped with the POs. COs are mapped to PSOs. These PSOs are optional. They're not necessary to be present in the curriculum. If they are present, the subject is specific to certain disciplines, certain graduate attributes. Okay, once mapping is done, you have to start assessing the student by two ways. One is direct assessment and indirect assessment. Direct assessment means very simple, wherever the assessment methodology involves with awarding the marks to the student's performance. Indirect assessment is solely through the surveys, solely through the feedbacks from the stakeholders such as employers, alumni, parents, students, peers, etc. Then the next step is data entry. Once you do the assessment, you have to enter the marks in a template or in a software. Then you have to use the threshold. Threshold means we have a passing mark. Say, for example, for 100, if a student secure 50 marks, that is the threshold. Likewise, even for the attainment, we have to fix the threshold. I will show you certain real examples. Threshold for the internal assessment marks and the threshold for the end semester examination marks to pass. Then the attainment calculation we have to do. Attainment calculation first for the COs. Then using the CO attainment, we have to calculate the PO and PSO attainment, then overall attainment to the program. So this is what to be understood. So for example, here, in order to teach you about the mapping between COs and the questions in the internal assessment tests, these are the two question papers I have set for MSc chemistry students for internal assessment test 1 and internal assessment test 2. If you see carefully these question papers, they don't have any reveal about the mapping between COs and questions. Just there are two parts. Each and every part, they are having some prescribed number of questions, but they are not having the information about the mapping with the POs. So how to do that? You work separately in such a way that each and every question should be mapped with at least one CO. You see here, in C1 question paper, in C1 component internal assessment test 1 question paper, I put the questions 1A, B, C, D, E, 2A, 2B, 2C, 3A, 3B, 3C, 4A, 4B, 4C. And before the completion of the C1 term, assignment will be given. put the questions, each question. Which CO is relevant to this particular question? You map that. You map that. What effort that student has to put to answer this particular question? Level 1, level 2, K1, K2, K3, K4, K5, K6. These are all the Bloom's taxonomy level. K1 means the remember level. K2 means understand level. K3 apply. K4 analyze. K5 evaluate. K6 create. So what level of order thinking skills he has to apply to answer the question related to CO1 I have mentioned here. So level 1, level 2, total marks 1 ABC, 3 questions, 2 marks each, 6 marks is maximum marks. So all the questions you put, map with the appropriate CO, map with the Bloom's taxonomy level, and enter the number of the marks given, maximum marks. Similarly, C2 question paper, seminar is the additional component during the days of C2 term seminar. Seminar related to CO1, the topic given to the student was related to CO1, where he need not to work more, only understand level he has to perform. So marks assigned is 5 for seminar. So this is the CO question Bloom's taxonomy level mapping framework. Total CO1 is having the questions for 21 marks, CO2 for 21 marks, CO3 19 marks, CO4 15 marks, CO5 14 marks. Means I have a question paper. This question paper, this is the title of instrumental methods of analysis. This question paper has 5 COs. C1 and C2, two tests I have conducted. In 2 tests, I have given the questions related to all 5 COs of marks 21, 21, 19, 15, 14 for CO1, CO2, CO3, CO4, CO5 respectively. Okay, this is the first step. Actual question paper should appear like this. OBE question paper, this is known as OBE question paper. So instead of giving the question paper like this, so simply putting the questions in subsequent parts, you have to map the questions with the COs and taxonomy levels. You see here, the question paper has COs. This is the paper molecular symmetry and spectroscopy, a second semester MSc chemistry course. This course has the course outcomes three course outcomes. And these course outcomes are to be mapped with each and every question in the question paper. So this is the question paper, usually part A and part B. Part A is for 2 marks questions. Part B is for, say, 10 for each question, 10 marks for each question. You see here, question number, question 1, 1A, some question has been put and it is relevant to CO1. Taxonomy level 2 is to be followed by the student, means understand level he has to apply. A lower order thinking skill, lot he has to perform. Similarly, question number 2, 1B, CO1 related, L1 and L3 level question. So like this is the mapping skeleton in order to map the COs with the questions and taxonomy level with the COs. Okay. Then mapping the CO with POs. Mapping the COs with POs. How to map? You carefully observe this particular table. There are numbers in between 1 and 3, not more than 3. And don't ask me that how it is 1, why not it is 0.8, why not it is 3.2, why not it is 10. These are all as per the standard guidelines and standard research literature, what we have to follow, OBE literature. Right. You carefully observe once. CO1 map it to PO1 with the value 3. CO1 not map it to PO2. CO1 mapped to PO5, CO1 to PSO1, PSO2, PSO3, PSO4, PSO5. Like this. How to do this? How do we get this number? That is the question. So, COPO, CO-PSO mapping is very important. We do this by following any two of these criterions. What are those? Criterion number one is based on the contact hours. Whatever it is, whether it is lecture-based teaching or tutorial-based teaching or practical-based teaching, how many contact hours we have to stipulate, we have to dedicate. Then number of assessment tools. I will tell you what is assessment tool and what are the assessment tools we do use. Then keywords matching between CO and PO, and what extent of the effort should be put by the student to achieve the CO. So this is the mapping strategy that should looks like this particular table. Okay, let us go through in detail. CO-PO mapping guidelines. This is the guideline prepared by me in consent with the standard guidelines, OB guidelines, and we have implemented in our institution. First criteria is based on the contact hours. Suppose you assume you have a course, any paper you consider that has 3 units. 3 units will be taught in 48 hours. 1 unit is for 16 hours. So, if that course is having 3 course outcomes, please do not write anything on the screen, participants. Please do not write anything. Someone has written this. I could not make out. Okay, please don't do that. A CO has three, a course is having 3 units. There are 3 COs. One course is taught for 48 hours, means 1 unit will be completed in 16 hours. CO1 is related to first unit, CO2 is related to second unit, CO3 is related to third unit. You simply assume in this way. So first unit is 33.3% of the overall course. Second unit is 33.3% of the overall course. Similarly, third unit is also. If CO1 is related to first unit, how many hours you have to dedicate out of 48 hours? 16 hours you have to dedicate. 16 hours means 33.3%. So, based on this percentage of contact hours, we have to assign the number that is known as mapping level. What the table I have showed here, this is the mapping level. 1, 2, 3, mapping level 1, mapping level 3. 1 is the low level, 2 is the medium level, 3 is the level higher level. Right. Okay. So, if a course outcome is related to the content in the curriculum, and to achieve that, less than 5% of the contact hour is dedicated, then you need not to map that CO with PO. That you have to understand. If a course content related to one CO, that content you have to teach in the classroom out of 48 hours, less than 5% of that. 5% of 48 hours means 2.4 hours. Less than 2.4 hours if you are dedicating. You need not to map that CO with the PO. You have to leave that. Okay. If the percentage of contact hour lies in between 5 and 15%, you have to map that CO with the PO with the level 1. If the percentage of contact hour lies in between 15, above 15 to 25%, you have to map that CO with PO with the level 2 medium. Level 2 medium. If that is greater than 25%, that is high. Level 3. So if you have 3 units, 3 course outcomes, 16 hours per course, one course outcome will be made to achieve in 16 hours. 16 hours of 48 hours will be 33.3%. That is greater than 25%. What is the level of mapping? It is 3. So one example I have given here. For a course, number of lectures is 3 per week. 12 weeks you will teach 36 hours theory course. Or number of practicals 2 per week. 4 hours, 12 weeks, 96 hours total hours. So 10 hours lecture, composition of both only theory or only practicals, or both theory and tutorials including practicals. You see here 10 lectures, 10 hours of lectures, 12 hours of tutorials, and 48 hours of practicals. Total 70 hours of the duration should be dedicated to complete a course. So 70 is for 100%. Out of this, how much for practical? 48 hours. You convert that to percentage to which CO that practical content will be coming. Map that with the level either 1 or 2 or 3. Okay. Let's CO1 related to points are engaged in 8 lectures of theory paper. Therefore, what is the contact hour in percentage? For this theory paper, 8 by 36 into 100, 22.2%. Where it comes? In between 15 and 25%. So CO that should be mapped with the level 2 with the PO. So medium mapping it should be. Similarly, you see the last one. Let a course has the 70 hour. A CO related to 8 hours of lectures plus 4 hours of tutorials plus 26 hours of practicals. Then contact hours in percentage, that will be 54.2%. It is greater than 25%. You map that CO with PO with the level high. High level of mapping. So this is how you can map. So come on, someone has to erase this on the screen, please. You erase this. I think host can do that.
Sir, if not, you can try stop sharing once and then share once again. You can try that way.
Pardon, madam?
Just stop sharing for once and then share once again, so that the
Yeah. Let me
somebody
do
will
that.
just
Thank
try
you.
once, sir. Yes, it has stopped sharing now.
Yes,
You can
yes.
you can start sharing again, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, it's
Seems it
gone.
is
Yeah.
okay now.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So this is how the mapping strategy you have to follow. This is the first criterion based on the contact hours. You categorize, you calculate how many contact hours is dedicated to cover to complete the content of the course related to a specific CO. If it is less than 5%, that need not to be mapped with PO. If it is in between 5 and 15%, you map with the level 1, low level. If it is in between 15 and 25%, you map with level 2, that is medium. If it is greater than 25%, you map with level 3, that is high. Then the second criterion is number of assessment tools used. So first is based on the contact hours. Second one is number of assessment tools used. What are assessment tools here? Assessment tools may be internal assessment test, end term test, class test, YOOS examination, seminar, internal lab practical test, survey or intensive field visit, etc. All the activities you are giving for the student to perform and they are awarded with some marks out of the maximum marks assigned. These are all assessment tools. So if a CO is related to PO, how to give the level of mapping between that CO and PO based on the number of assessment tools used. If no assessment tool is used for assessment, no test is conducted, no seminar is conducted, no assignment is given, then no need to map that CO with PO. No need to map. If the assessment tool used is one or two, say you will conduct the test, you make the student to present the seminar, one or two. That is the assessment tool. Conducting the test is one assessment tool. Seminar is the another assessment tool. One or two assessment tool is used to measure the performance level of the student. So you have to map the CO with the PO with the level 1, low level. If the assessment tools used are 3, you will conduct the internal assessment test. You will give the assignment. You make the student to present the seminar. So 3 assessment tools are used. Then the level of mapping between CO and PO should be medium, that is 2. If 4 or more assessment tools are used, it should be high level mapping. You do the test, you do the seminar, you get the assignment from the students, you impose the students to go for internships, you make the students to go for experiential learning or project work, etc. If 4 or more assessment tools are used, the mapping level between CO and PO will be always high. Then the third category is appropriate keywords which are sufficient for mapping between COs and POs. No mapping will be done if the keyword in CO with lower order thinking skill and not related to the course. A CO is there for that particular course that might have been vaguely prescribed by the course in charge and that has been validated and approved in turn. So that is not related to the course content. In such circumstances, you need not to map that course outcome with any of the POs. That is number 1. Number 2, if the part of the PO is reflected in the CO with appropriate action verbs, means some minute part of the PO is matching with the CO, very minute part, with appropriate action keywords. Action verbs are keywords. Then mapping level stands at 1. It is low level. Then major part of the PO is reflected in CO with all action verbs, mode of performance, subject content, everything. But the student performance expected is only moderate level. Only moderate. If we work smart to secure the maximum marks, then the mapping level between CO and with the particular PO will be 2. That is medium. If the exact action verb in the PO and CO is matching totally, completely, but, but the student needed to be evaluated very critically. Very critical evaluation should be done in order to assess the CO attainment. Then that CO should be mapped with the PO with the level 3. So these are the 3 criterions we have to aware for mapping of COs with POs. Okay. So now, out of the 3 criterions, 2 you have to follow. Take the average, put in the table, identify appropriate PO with the CO, map with the level from 1 to 3. That should be very, very appropriate. That should not be done erratically. If you do the mapping erratically, outcome attainment evaluation will also become erratic. You have to be very, very careful. Then another important things you have to keep in your mind always that course outcomes should be mapped with POs and PSOs at any point of time. You need not to miss that. You should not miss it. If you have 3 COs, each and every CO should be mapped with 1 or more POs or vice versa. You cannot leave PO or PSO or CO without mapping. You cannot leave that. 1 CO should be mapped with at least 1 PO, PSO or vice versa. If 3 COs are there, all the COs are to be mapped with 1 or the other POs. Because you have to evaluate the attainment. So attainment must be measured at each program and course level. If you are good enough to measure the attainment level for a particular course, then it is easy to measure the attainment level for that particular program. So attainment evaluation will commence from the course. Then it will stop at program educational objectives, then ultimately at the vision and the mission. This is what very important. So now you have rough picture. CO1 is mapped with PO1. This I have earlier showed. What is the level? It is 3. CO1 is correlated with PO1 with the high level of mapping. That means to say that the contact hours is greater than 25% and the number of assessment tools used are greater than 4. But the student has to perform very critically. Severe performance is expected by the student to achieve this CO attainment, then in turn the PO attainment. Therefore, the level of mapping between CO and PO is 3. So similarly, 2, 1, you can see. So you can see there are 5 COs. Each and every CO is mapped with one or the other PO and PSO. So average mapping strength you can calculate. Weight average mapping strength. Take the average 3 plus 1, 4. 4 by 2, 2. 3 plus 2, 5 plus 1, 6 by 3, that is 2. Likewise, to take the average of all the columns. This is not necessary, but just for sake of understanding the mapping strength between the course and the program, we have to calculate this. So overall mapping strength means that gives the average of this last row. Average of this last row will be 2.247. Means, say for BA program, you have 5 COs in a particular course, and that course is mapped with the program outcomes of that BA program. To what level? It is at 2.247 level out of 3. Out of 3-point scale, it is having the strength of 2.247. So in order to achieve this, you have to assess the student accordingly. Okay. Next, let us proceed to the assessment methods. You can put the weightage of assessments for direct and indirect assessment. As I have already told you, direct assessment means it is assessment by awarding the marks to the students. Indirect assessment means that is through the exit survey or stakeholder survey feedback. You can fix the proportion in such a way that it may be 80:20 and 90:10, 75:25. This you cannot put by the course in charge. There should be a policy. OBE policy you should develop. In the OBE policy, what should be the weightage given for the direct assessment? Just like giving the weightage for the internal assessment test, what is the weightage for the direct assessment and what is the weightage for the indirect assessment? You have to fix that in the policy. And that has to be approved by appropriate governing council or governing body or academic council or BOS or university. Okay. So let you fix anything, say 80:20 or 90:10 or 75:25, 70:30, whatever, that is up to you. Direct tools means internal assessment test, lab test, tutorial, intensive, field work, project, seminar, assignment, etc. Indirect means that is through the assessment by feedback. Okay. So you should have the rubrics for everything. Rubrics means it is an indicator to indicate or to mention the level of performance. That is the rubrics. Let me take an example for indirect assessment to calculate the attainment level. Attainment through indirect assessment will be done by surveys. Who are the respondents? Respondents are the passed out students, alumni, parents, employer, etc. So you prepare a questionnaire for the indirect assessment. For direct assessment, you prepare the question paper. Based on the marks secured by the student, you will calculate. I will show you how to calculate the attainment for the direct assessment. For the indirect assessment, indirect attainment calculation, how do you do? First, you have to prepare a questionnaire contained with all the POs and PSOs. You have to ask the respondent to respond in such a way that his response should be in between 1 and 3. It may be 0 even. whether the student is really capable of performing the art because he's completed BA honors in arts. So if the respondent is given the rating in between 1 and 3, collect all the responses, consolidate them, and calculate the percentage. How? With respect to the response given with excellent. Convert the responses given with high level, convert them into percentage. What is the rubric here? Rubric is the indication of the response extent. 1 is low, 2 is medium, 3 is high. You need not to map CO with PO here for indirect assessment. Directly you can get the responses. You can tabulate the responses, you can consolidate, and you can obtain the attainment report. Okay, you have the responses now. 60% of the people are giving above 3 in between 1 and 3. If 60% of the respondents given the ratings above 3 or 3, you make it as low. Means the PO attainment is low. Out of 3, only 33.3% has been attained. Means the performance of the student is poor. The institute is not performing to the expectation of the student. Why? The employer is given the response with the level 1, response level 1. So he is not satisfied. If from the consolidated report, if 70% people have given 3, that is medium attainment. The attainment is medium. Okay, satisfactory. If 80% respondents given the rating above 3, that is high. That is high. This is, say for example, PO1, how many have given 3? Convert into percentage. If it is greater than 60 to 70, make it 1. 70 to 80, make it 2. 80 and above, make it 3. So what is the PO attainment? 1, 2, 3. Convert this into percentage. 1 by 3 into 100, 33.3%. 2 by 3 into 100, 66.6%. 3 by 3 into 100, 100%. So this is how indirect attainment can be calculated. Okay, let me go in detail about the direct assessment for attainment calculation. This is in our institution. The marks distribution is like this. For internal assessment tests and end semester examination, we conduct IA test for 30% of the marks, end semester examination for 70% for all PG programs. We have 15 PG programs. For all those PG programs, 30 marks out of 100 will be for C1, C2 assignment seminar. And remaining 70 will be for the end semester examination, that is C3. For UG programs, we have two. For NEP 2020, we have 30%, 40% internal assessment test or 30% for CBCS and remaining 70 or 60% for the end semester examination. So how to calculate the attainment now? You may have your own Excel template or a software. What you have to do? Just you have to enter some basic details. You have to map CO with PO and PSO. You have to fix the threshold of percentage of marks from IA test for each CO. You have to fix the minimum marks for pass in the end semester examination. You have to use the rubrics to indicate the attainment level. You have to calculate the CO attainment for each course. You have to calculate the PO, PSO attainment from each course. Then one course, one set of calculation you have to do for BA. If there are 40 courses, for all the 40 courses, you have to repeat this. Then you have to get the consolidated report. Okay, this is a template. What I have developed in our institution to prepare the attainment reports. First CO attainment reports, then PO attainment reports. The basic details you see here. Threshold for attainment, 50%. Andre, say, there is one question related to CO1. There are 50 students. Out of 50 students, if at least 50% of the 50 students, that is 25 students have passed in that CO1. So that is the threshold. That is the threshold. At least minimum 50% of the students have to fulfill that CO1. then that CO is attained. Otherwise, it is not. Then what you have to do? You have to go for continuous improvement. You have to conduct one more test until at least 25 or more number of students have to achieve that attainment. So threshold for percent attainment. Then end semester examination, out of 70, 30% we have fixed, 21 marks each and every student has to secure. Out of 70, 21 marks he has to secure. Certain abbreviations you fix. Don't worry about all these things. So rubrics I have put here. If 70% of the students have attained the CO1, rubrics is level I. This you can fix. This may be 80, this may be 70, this may be 60, as per your policy, what you are developing. So 70 above the rubric 3, 60 above rubric 2, 50 above rubric 1. You create a template, say faculty name, program, what is the program, subject, chemistry. So year 1, semester 1, course code, session 22-23, what is the course title? You put all these things. COPO mapping, this should be present at the beginning of the curriculum. COPO or COPSO mapping should not be done during the examination, during the internal assessment test. But this table should be present in the curriculum document. That is better. Otherwise, you prepare as an appendix, as an annexer, then you preserve that in the file where the curriculum document is present. That is very important. You see here, I have 5 COs for this course, Essentials of Analytical Chemistry, and that MSc Chemistry program has 5 POs and 7 PSOs. So each and every CO is mapped with PO and PSOs. So this Essentials of Analytical Chemistry is not related to program specific outcome 4. I have not mapped, and that will not be falling under the category of mapping criteria. Therefore, I have made it empty. So COs are mapped with POs. CO1 mapped with PO1 with the level 2. Why? 5 to 15% of 15 to 25% of the contact hour is followed to cover the content related to CO1, or assessment tools used to cover the content of CO1 to assess the performance of the student related to CO1 is 2 or 3. 2 or 3. So that's what the mapping level is 2. Similarly, mapping level 3, 2, you can see here. This is the first thing you have to do. Mapping between CO and PO, CO and PSO. Then the next thing, collect the answer booklets of internal assessment tests, evaluate them, question-wise evaluation you have done. Each and every question student has answered. For each question, there is a maximum marks stipulated. Out of the maximum marks assigned, how much of the marks the student has secured. You tabulate all those things in a template. And consolidate all the questions related to CO1, related to CO2, related to CO3 separately. What is the total question for CO1 given total marks? Total marks given for CO2, total marks given for CO3. Then student-wise, you keep tabulating the marks secured by the students. Out of 16, Abhirami has scored 9 marks related to CO1. Abhishek scored 8 for CO1. And similarly, 16, Abhishek has scored out of 21. Like this, you tabulate. Convert them into percentage. So 9 by 16 into percentage. Tabulate all those things. Either you can do this manually, or you can put certain formula in the Excel. If time permits, I will show you some samples how to put the formula there. Convert them into percentage. Take the average. Now. CO1, with respect to CO1, each and every student have scored this much percentage of marks. You can see carefully. CO1, CO2, CO3, CO4, CO5. Percentage of performance has been given here. Now, you have the threshold for attainment. What does this mean? If any student scored the marks greater than 50%, that means to say he has attained this CO. Otherwise, he is not. You look at this 43.75%. There is one guy who is Abhishek HU who has scored 43.75%. Means he has not attained the CO1. He has not performed up to the mark to achieve the CO1. Then inevitably, PO attainment will also go down because CO is mapped to PO. This is how beauty of calculating the CO attainment. Okay, ultimately you do all the things, convert into percentage, absentees, students present, you make this tabulation. Now, you calculate the number of students who have scored greater than threshold marks, means greater than 50. How many have scored greater than 50? Right? How many have scored greater than 50? Calculate, put here. Convert that into percentage. So if 10 students out of 10 have scored greater than 50, convert that, it is 100%. It is 100%. So this is the 100%. Then you use the rubric now. What is rubric? If it is 70 above, the rubric is 3. 100 means it is 70 above, rubric is 3. 60 to 70, the rubric should be 2. Here, no percentage of students attained the CO1 less than 70. Therefore, the rubric stands here at 3. All are at 3. So, this is by direct assessment. The attainment level for CO1 is 3. Attainment level for CO3 is 3. For all the CO1, CO2, CO3, CO4, CO5, the attainments stands at 3. Okay, this is for the internal assessment test. Then even you have to consider the end semester examination also. What is end semester examination? You tabulate the marks. You tabulate the marks at the last here in this column. End semester examination marks secured by the student, you tabulate. For that also, the maximum marks is 100. You simply assume 100. Passing marks is 40. How many students have scored the percentage of marks greater than 40? You tabulate here for the end semester examination. Convert that into percentage. With respect to that percentage, you apply the rubric, whether it is 3 or 2 or 1. So that gives you the performance in the end semester examination. Okay. Now, final attainment you have to calculate. Final attainment means attainment from the internal assessment test and attainment from the end semester examination. You have the proportion for that. How? 30 is to 70. 30% weightage for the internal assessment and 70% weightage for the end semester examination. Put the formula. What is the attainment for the internal assessment test? It is standing at 3. So 3 for 100%. What is the value for 0.3? 30% means it is 0.3. So 3 by 3 into 30. So 0.3 into CO attained in internal assessment, that is 30% means 0.3 into CO attained, that is 3, plus 70% means 0.7 into CO attainment in end semester examination. You add those two, you will get overall CO attainment for that particular course. For that particular course. So CO attainment you have to calculate for the internal assessment test. Convert that into 30% weightage. CO attainment to the end semester examination. That is simply by entering the marks. Calculate the percentage of students scored greater than 21%, 21 marks, or 30% or 50%. That is up to your guidelines. Convert that into percentage and convert that into 70%. Add that 70% attainment with the 30% attainment from the internal assessment, combined together, sum them, you get the overall CO attainment. Overall CO attainment for particular CO. Okay. See, this is another example I am showing you. Different students for a course. She is having CO1, CO3, CO4, CO2, different questions have been mapped to different COs. You can see here. Question 1A relevant to CO1, 1B relevant to CO1, 1C relevant to CO3, 1D relevant to CO3, 1A relevant to CO4. So maximum question I have put here. 2 marks from 1A to 1E. So 4 marks, 3 marks, 2A, 2B, 2C. Similarly, so maximum marks assigned for each question has given here. Get the answer booklet, evaluate. What the marks secured by each student, you tabulate. Question wise you tabulate. And even you have to tabulate the marks secured in the assignment, because assignment is also mapped with the CO, a particular CO. Seminar marks you tabulate because seminar is also mapped with a particular CO. So this is the first elementary thing you have to do. Then convert the marks secured by each student with respect to each and every CO into percentage. I have converted into percentage. Then end semester examination marks, enter. This is for 70. This is for 70. So each and every student secured how much marks for 70, for maximum of 70, you tabulate. Percentage. After converting into percentage, now you use the threshold. What is the threshold? We fix the threshold as 50%. So how many students have scored greater than 50%? You calculate 48, 36 for 48 for CO1, 36 for CO2, 25, 65, 39, etc. Similarly, in end semester examination, 69 students have secured the marks greater than passing marks. Okay, apply the rubrics, convert them into percentage. 48 will be coming at the percentage of 68.6. Similarly, 51.4 for CO1, CO2, CO3, CO4, CO5, CO6. Use the rubrics now. 60 to 70, rubric 2. 68.6 is in between 60 to 70, rubric 2. 50 to 60, rubric 1. 35.7, lowest is the 50%. 35.7 is lesser than 50%. No attainment. This is dangerous. If students are not attained any particular CO, you have to take care. You have to modify the policy. You have to go for remedial classes. Then similarly, CO4 percentage is 92.9%. Attainment level is 3. Similarly, CO another 1 level and level 1. Okay, this is for internal assessment test. For end semester examination, convert this into percentage. You will get at 97%. So rubric you use 97 means greater than 70%. That is standing at 3. So attainment in end semester examination is 3. CO attainment in the internal assessment test is 2, 1, 3, 1, 1 for CO1, CO2, CO4, CO5, CO6 respectively. Overall attainment. You calculate the overall attainment, 30% for the internal assessment test, 70% for the end semester examination. Do it. 0.3 into attainment in the internal assessment, that is 2 plus 0.7 into 3. Why? 3 is the attainment level in the end semester examination. You sum up. So you will get for 2, it is 2.7, 2.4, 2.1, 3 through 2.4, 2.4. This is the overall course attainment. CO1 has been attained 2.7, CO2 attained 2.4, CO3 attained 2.1, 3, 2.4, 2.4. This is out of 3. This is out of 3. This is how course attainment will be calculated. Now, once course attainment is done, you have to calculate PO attainment and PSO attainment. How do you do that? So you have mapping now. CO-PO mapping is there. Using this mapping strength, you have to calculate the attainment. How? You have your attainment table in the worksheet. CO1 attainment is 2.7. You can see here 2.7. I have just entered simply here in order to do the calculation. 2.4 CO2 attainment. 2.1 CO3 attainment. 3 is the CO4 attainment. Similarly, CO5, CO6. Right. What is the PO1 attainment now? What is the PO1 attainment now? Here, in this table, the mapping strength is 2. Mapping strength is 2. This mapping strength is for maximum 3. 2 by 3 into 2.7 you have to do. Why? CO1 attainment is 2.7, but the mapping strength is 2. This mapping strength is for maximum 2. So 2 by 3 into 2.7. If it is 2 for 3, how much for 2.7? You will get 1.8. And this should be done for all the POs because you have the mapping table now. You have the mapping table. This should be done for all the POs and PSOs. You will get PO attainment. You will get PO attainment. So PO1 is attained up to 1.8 out of 3-point scale. And PO2 with respect to CO2 is attained 2.4 out of 3-point scale. This is how PO and PSO attainment is done. So average attainment you calculate. You take the average of all this 1.66, average of all this 2.13. Similarly, you do up to the last PSO with respect to each and every CO. Overall course attainment is 1.5. So this is 1.5 is for this 1.8. What is the overall mapping strength is 1.8. That is the average of all these things. That is 1.8. For 1.8, it is 1.5. How much for 100? 83%. Means you have POs and PSOs in your curriculum. Only 83% of them are achieved. Remaining 17% are not achieved. How to improve that? Through continuous assessment. Through continuous assessment. This is how attainment strategy will be followed. This is all about the direct assessment. Next, indirect assessment. Prepare a questionnaire. As I have already told you, circulate the questionnaire either in the online mode or offline mode. Using the Google form, you can circulate the questionnaire in the online mode, or printed the questionnaire, circulate to the respondents, collect the responses, analyze them, use the rubrics, right? Convert that into attainment level. How? Say, response collected from the passed out students, parents of students, alumni, and teachers. So employers can also be. Employers means where our graduates are working, not all the employers, because they have to assess the performance of our graduates. If there is an industry where our students are not working, don't collect the response from those employers. Employers are those where our alumni are working. So consolidate the response, analyze, gather the attainment. How? Use the rubrics. If 80% or more given the high rating, 3 rubric. 70% gave the rating 3, 2. Only 60% gave the rating 3, 1. So PO, PSO attainment level, what is that? Whether it is 3 or 2 or 1 divided by 3, that is the maximum. Highest capping is 3. According to the rubrics or the responses given, it may be 3 or 2 or 1. So 1 by 3 into 100, 33.3%. So indirect assessment is only 33.33%. This is how indirect assessment will be. So now you have PO, PSO attainment direct, PO, PSO attainment indirect. Overall attainment, how to get it? You have the proportion now. 80% of the direct attainment, 20% of the indirect assessment, indirect attainment. Convert that. So this 83% is for 100%. Convert this to 80%. 0.8 into 83% plus 0.2 into the percentage obtained in the indirect attainment. Sum them. You will get the overall attainment. So this is how the mapping and attainment strategy you have to follow. Like this should be done for each and every course. Overall, for each course, you have to do this. If a program, MA program is having 40 courses, for all the 40 courses, this process should be repeated. Then final attainment for the program to get it as average. You have to get it as average. So you have to aware of the following in order to well versed with the outcome-based education to assess the performance of your higher education institution through understanding on the mapping criterions, any two methods, by knowing the knowledge on the percentage of hours dedicated or assessment tools used, or the keywords mapping, matching between CO and PO. You should aware of mapping the questions with COs and ultimately CO with PO or PSO. You should know the knowledge of data entry, calculation, doing the calculation, etc. Attainments you have to calculate. Overall attainment for the each course from the from the internal assessment test and the end semester examination. Then the overall attainment from the direct and indirect assessment. All the records you should procure in your department showing the indirect analysis means the survey forms you have received either in the online mode or in the offline mode. So finally, I would like to throw light on the differences between the conventional and outcome-based education. How are they different? You carefully go through this. Focus is different between the two. In conventional education, we focus only on content delivery. It is teacher-centered. In OBE, it is student-centered. Curriculum design, there is a stipulated syllabus in the conventional education system where the curriculum should be flexible. That's what we have: hardcore, softcore, open elective, ability enhancing program, ability enhancing course, digital literacy, NCC, NSS, intensive fieldwork, project, etc. This flexibility will create opportunity for the learners. That's what OBE is always advantageous. Then teaching methodology, only lecture and passive mode will be followed in the conventional method. Active learning, student-centric methods including experiential learning, participatory learning, problem-solving approach. That is in outcome-based education. Bloom's taxonomy level is not followed. Even it is followed only level 1 in conventional mode. But all the 6 levels you may have to follow while following OBE. Evaluation criteria is only based on marks in conventional mode. But we collect the opinion, feedback. We do the survey to assess the achievement of the students, to measure the level of competency in OBE. Faculty plays a crucial role. You will work as a facilitator, mentor, guide, and supporter in OBE. But in conventional mode is only knowledge server. That's it. Likewise, these are certain aspects related to skill, flexibility, and industry requirements, student involvement in OBE platform. But all these are different in conventional mode of education. So with this, time has not permitted to illustrate some practical hands-on training related to this OBE calculation. If possible, in future aspects, we'll meet again. Thanks for patient listening of my lecture related to OBE. Practice OBE because no survival without adopting OBE framework in the higher education institutions in India, particularly because the students will be projected towards the global opportunities. They are not narrow-minded and they have the big aspirations to become the global valued citizens. In order to bring that transformation in the education system, OBE is very, very important. I have given only small pills related to OBE, but it is a vast. When you start practicing that, you will understand in detail about the cons and pros, do's and don'ts, and